Hello everyone, welcome to Siyasat.com. My name is Danish Majid. Today we have a very special guest for you. His name is Arshad Pirzada. Currently he's one of the directors of the Mount Mercy School in Doli Chowki. That is a school that helps and educate a lot of kids from the underprivileged section of society. And we're here to talk to him about not just that school, but his overall trajectory that led him to forming that school, because there's been quite the historical stories for the formation of this school. Arshad Sahab, thank you very much for joining us today. First, start off by telling us about this school. ये स्कूल का आगाज कैसा हुआ और क्यों हुआ?
We started this school in 1999. It was established by a group of NRIs who used to work in Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. And in our leisure time, like all the people in Jeddah and Riyadh, we used to sit together and chat, and sometimes we discuss the difficulties of the community back home. So the group of 11 friends, they came up with a solution that the solution to our problems lies in the education. Mm-hmm. Because our community is lagging behind education. So they said we'll start a school. Initially it was day school and a residential school. But somehow the residential school project was scrapped. So we started the day school at Doli Chowki. So one of our friends, he came back to Hyderabad. Then we gave him he got this land, a school in Doli Chowki area. So we established that school, and on a very concessional rent, he leased out this school to us. Mm-hmm. So in 1999 we started the school. The then governor, Dr. Rangarajan, he was the one who inaugurated the school. Mm-hmm. From day one, we thought that the fee should be very reasonable and quality education at a very reasonable price. Mm-hmm. So even after 20 years, we stick to that point.
What were the challenges which you faced in starting the school in terms of construction, funding and whatnot?
We got the school in a very favorable condition, because the gentleman, he leased it to us on a very nominal rent. And the problem was, initially we got only 56 students. Mm-hmm. And mostly the people who were enrolled were the acquaintance and the children of the family. But gradually infrastructure developed and people came to know that this is a very good school. So now it's alhamdulillah, we have around 850 students. Journey is, in the beginning it's very tough. The reason is around 30 to 40% of our parents are first time. Their children are going to the school for the first time.
Oh, first generation.
First generation parents whose children are going to the school.
Wow.
This is a very, so everything we have to do that. At least 30 to 40%. They cannot do the homework. We have to take the responsibility of the homework. Their financial status is very poor. So the fee affordability is also a challenge. To correct the fee, it's very difficult. These are the things they have.
And what has been the response of the people that you're trying to serve with this school? The parents, the students? The
parents are very happy because we offer very favorable terms and conditions to them. As I said, our fee structure is very reasonable, affordable, and in return what we are paying back is quality education. I believe that ours is one of the best schools of West Hyderabad. Mm-hmm. We do not compare our school to any neighborhood school. We have a bit higher, what you call the international schools, or I don't know the name of the school, but the people who are charging 40 to 50,000 riyals, we have competition with them. Mm. Although our fee structure is much less, about half of what they are charging.
So this is definitely not a corporate structure, not a corporate money-making machine.
Definitely not, because the very important thing is The people who establish this school, the stakeholders, they do not charge, they do not share the profits. Whatever we have, return back to the school. We have a very dedicated staff. You will be surprised to know that we have teachers from last 15 years. That is very rare. You will not find this in any other school.
The thing is, it's not, like I said, it's not a for-profit initiative, this school. It's basically 10, 11 or 12 NRIs, 11 NRIs who've just come together and are devoted to a cause which is not just about making money. Actually, which is not even about making money.
Absolutely.
So, what exactly binded you guys together?
The issues, the problems of the society. That's the main reason. There are so many people who are working at different fields of the society, but we thought education, as I told you, education is the key to the success. That's what we thought, and we are doing that. Wonderful job. It's self-praising, but...
Arshad Sahab, you said that your school is in charge, which is good. Halaki, there was a time in Hyderabad when Muslims, they couldn't even put together a school with their capital or any of the resources that they had, simply because they were marginalized. And this marginalization was a result of the 1948 police action. Police action के ज़रिए Hyderabad का accession हुआ Indian Union में. From what I know is that a lot of some family members of yours, they were in the Nizam's government. Can you give us a brief background of that?
Yes, my grandfather from my mother's side, he was an HCS officer.
Hyderabad Civil Service.
Hyderabad Civil Service officer. He studied under Marmadak Piktal.
Wow.
He used to run a HCS training school.
And Piktal, he was the guy who translated the Quran?
He is the one who translated.
Wow.
The first Quranic translation was done by him. So Lady Piktal and Sir Marmadak Piktal, they were in charge of the hostel which was run in Hyderabad. So my grandfather, he passed the HCS examination, and his father, he was the Peshi secretary of HCS the Nizam. It was a very important position, so it's like that. And my grandfather from my father's side, he was Marathi speaking gentleman, and he was also a government servant.
Wow.
And my father graduated just before the police action, and he got a job in AG's office. He joined as a UDC, then he promoted to accountant. So he was there. We have 9 brothers and sisters. I am the eldest one. I have 4 brothers and 4 sisters.
Wow.
All of them, they are well established, they are well settled.
But it must have been tough in the 70s for Muslims especially to establish themselves in Hyderabad.
Naturally, because as we have a large family of 9 siblings, and the one important thing is, I want to tell you, I was adopted by my grandfather from my mother's side. He was, as I told you, he was an SS officer, so I stayed with him. So for a very long time, I was not aware that I was not his son.
Oh.
I was not his son. But I have very, my father, my mother, they used to visit us. Then very late, I came to know that I am, in fact, their son, not Zain Labudin. My grandfather's name is Zain Labudin.
And then you went on to go to Saudi Arabia. What exactly were the circumstances that prompted you to move?
In those days, there was no jobs the way we have here these days. So there are very few jobs, there are no private jobs, only government jobs. So the first thing what I did, after completion of my graduation, I went to the Public Service Commission. Then I registered myself. Then those days were very difficult to get a call for a job. So my Khalu, he was in Saudi Arabia, so he sent me a visa. So I went there in 1976. Then I joined a company, which it was automotive company, one of the largest General Motor dealers outside the US.
Mm-hmm.
So initially I joined as a store assistant, which was, it sounds like a something clerical job, but it was not. I have to receive the parts, check it, and there are huge warehouse. I have to bin those parts in the racks, the steel racks.
Mm-hmm.
So it was initially for 2 years I was there. Then I was transferred to another warehouse, which was a huge shed. There was no proper electricity. The temperature was very, very high, around 50 degrees. So around 2 years I worked there.
Mm-hmm.
Then in my leisure time I gained knowledge in automotive parts, the catalogs and things like that. So then from 5th year I started working as a counter salesman.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. From there I worked as a counter salesman for a few years. Then I was transferred to another branch. Then I was...
So all these skills that you learned in Saudi Arabia itself. In Hyderabad there wasn't enough scope to get educated and learn these types of skills.
Very recently there was no such position or automotive sales in Hyderabad also. There are small stores. But back there in Saudi Arabia, there are huge warehouses, and automotive parts was one of the largest business in Saudi Arabia. So I got trained under the Americans, the General Motor people. I was sent to Dubai, Bahrain, and once I went to Egypt also. So I was trained by the parts and accessories division of General Motors.
Mm-hmm.
So by this way I got a chance to gain knowledge. Then I was appointed as I told you, Hubtown automotive parts coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked there for in that position for about 5 years. Then I came back because my parents and my grandparents, my grandmother especially, so I have to take care of her. So I came back. And also about the education of my children. I have a daughter and a son. My son is working he's a journalist, working for Hindu newspaper. Previously he was with Times of India. And daughter is architect.
Mm-hmm.
She is a housemaker. My son is working with Hindu, still working for Hindu.
So, and you clearly came from a background which was very, very upper class during the Nizam's time, and then later on in the 70s, when Hyderabadi Muslims are facing a tumultuous period, you had to move to Saudi Arabia and start literally from scratch. And what year did you graduate in?
I graduated from Usman University, Anwaram College. My schooling is from Mahbubia Girls High School up to 4th. I studied in Mahbubia, then to Alia,
Mm-hmm.
primary and high school.
Mm-hmm.
Then from there, Anwaram College.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, in 1976, I graduated from Anwaram, and within 6 months, I went back to Saudi Arabia.
So you're saying the money you earned from the Gulf in Saudi Arabia, it was very helpful in fixing your fortunes.
Definitely, because it helped me educate my children, and I was able to build a house in Banjara Hills.
Mm-hmm.
Alhamdulillah, it's okay.
Alhamdulillah.
Very important thing is I have a very loving family. When I say loving family, is that my brothers, my mother, she died about 10 years back. My father died about 2 years back. But I got the support from my wife.
Mm-hmm.
She is a postgraduate with Arabic as a major. She is author of a book.
Mm-hmm.
It was published by Darussalam Publications.
Wow.
And it's available in 5 continents. Apart from this, she used to teach Arabic grammar in my house. She gives regular lectures, and she also runs a boutique.
Mm-hmm. It was your relative Khalik Saab who was very instrumental in bringing you from Hyderabad to Riyadh.
That's
right.
Khalik Bhai, we used to call him Khalik Bhai. So he is the one who called me. He sent me a visa. Then from Hyderabad, we stayed until he came back from Saudi Arabia. We stayed with him.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed with him. My younger brother also, he joined me later. Two of my younger brothers, they joined me later into Saudi Arabia. One the one of my younger brother, he worked for Riyadh University, King Khalid, Riyadh University, King Khalid University, and the other one, he was he worked in, he did some business, medical supplies. He was in medical supplies, and now he is working for Toyota company. He is not there in Saudi Arabia, but वहाँ से आते जाते रहे, shuffling from Riyadh to Saudi Arabia.
I mean, it's quite the trajectory you've been through, because you literally had to establish yourself from somebody who did labor work to somebody who owns many branches. And it's interesting because you also have your grandfather who was a civil servant as well.
That's right.
He was a civil servant in Raichur.
Raichur, he was collector of Raichur.
And you also have a feudal background as well. In the olden days, there was a perception about people who are feudals and Nawabs. Nawaba kaam nahi karte, they don't do this and that. Not to say that you or your feudal family was like that. I mean, there are different hues and shades of feudals. But basically, you guys were at a certain level of power. And then, post 1948, the police action, which saw the marginalization of Muslims, you were among the class who really revived their own fortunes and themselves by going to the Gulf. So, tell us a bit about your grandfather.
My grandfather, from my father's side, he was actually originally he's from Maharashtra. So he also a descendant of a saint. It belongs to Khadri Silsila. So it was a huge land. What I heard from the papers, what I read the papers, that was 3 gaon ka Jagir tha.
Wow.
So they used to call our family Jagirdar. That's what I heard from the beginning. And it's surprising to know that the land was donated or granted by Shivaji, Chhatrapati Shivaji. There is perception that now what we are hearing from the people that Shivaji was anti-Muslim, but it's not like that. We got a huge land from Shivaji Maharaj.
So be it the Nizams or Shivaji, your family has, or the Shivaji dynasty, your family has connections to both, the Hindu and the Muslim dynasties. But what was it like living in the Gulf overall though, in Riyadh?
As I told you initially, boarding and lodging was not an issue. But the working condition, as I told you, you know my background. We live here, as I told you, I have Sufi background. So our family is very well known in Hyderabad. But compared to what we saw here and when I went there, so the working conditions was very tough. Especially the 3 years I spent in a warehouse, it was very difficult. The temperature was very high, there was no proper facility. But gradually, as things improved, I got experience in automotive parts, then I got a better position. So, alhamdulillah, it's good. The experience was very good. I have very good experience in Saudi Arabia. I have very good relation with the local Saudis, the Arab, especially the Sudanese. There's so many things.
So Arshad, back to the school now. You said that there are certain skills that you wish you had had before going to Saudi Arabia.
That's true. That's true.
And those are the skills which you only got in a foreign country.
Yes.
However, I'm assuming within your school that you're running right now, you're trying to pass on similar skills to these kids today.
Absolutely. Because as I told you, when I went to Saudi Arabia, I was not prepared for an interview or for how to look for a job. So I joined a company. From day one, when I left, I was still in that company. So now what I see in the newspapers, especially the Roznama, Siyasat, they are running so many soft skill developments, career guidance. In my days, it was not there. So what background, we used to ask the people who are working in the Middle East, what do you want us to learn? So they used to give us hints. So learn this. In those days, what do you call, AC and was, they used to ask them, go and learn how to, the AC mechanism, things like that. But this was not my aptitude, I do not do that. So, but that's why this is the way I got the job.
Wow.
But had I the skills, the soft skills and career guidance, any military background, maybe I will land up in a better position, or initially what 3 or 4 years I had difficulty, I would not have that.
And when you came back from Saudi Arabia, you were involved in the construction business, right?
After returning from Saudi Arabia, in March 2005, within 15 or 20 days, I joined my cousin who was a builder. So I worked for him because I have no construction background, but still I worked with him. So about 5 years we were together. We had so many projects. Then because of this construction, slowdown of the construction, for 2 years I was not having any job. Then in 2012, full-time I joined Mount Mercy. I was involved with the Mount Mercy from day one. Then from 2005 till date, I am with Mount Mercy School.
How can the community help with Mount Mercy? Because it's easy to come up with the ideas, and 11 well-meaning individuals can get certain things done. But then it's a joint effort when you're trying to help build a community, advance a community's educational standing as well. A lot of cooperation is required, not just from people who within the school, but from the overall community as well. What help do you guys need for that?
Our board members, the 11 board members, are the asset of our school and the society. It's Al Asr Education Society. So these 11 members, as I told you, they do not share any profit. In fact, some of them, they give their zakat to us. And we do not ask for donations. We never ask for anything. But very close family members, they sponsored some of the children. So this is the only way we have sponsored children. And around 200 plus students from the lower economically backward background, we have sponsored. About 50 of them, 100%. Then the rest from 10 to 50%.
But in terms of actual help though, be it funds, ideas, volunteering their time, is this something that the community can also get involved with?
We do not ask for financial help from anybody, but we ask them to dedicate some time. We used to regular invite role models of the society. Muslims, non-Muslims, no matter to us. Anybody who is a role model, we used to call them. They deliver regular lectures, and also we have sessions for the parents. How the parents, we have regular, we call the doctors, engineers, so some religious personalities for the parents also. Parents as well as children.
Clearly, Arshad sir, you've been on quite the journey and you have miles and miles to travel ahead. And we wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors, be it with Mount Mercy or the careers that your kids have embarked upon for a while. We really hope that you soar new heights. Thank you so much for joining us.